Well, hey, it is Mother's Day. If you just realized that, there's still plenty of hours to call your mom. But I also understand how Mother's Day, and especially with the huge emphasis I think we as a nation put on it, and I think it's like one of those loaded holidays where we can think and we can praise the Lord for a good mother, but some of us weren't blessed with a good mother. Some of us have tried to be mothers. And some of us are currently being a mother and we're like, this is a lot of work. I don't know if I quite signed up for this. And for sons, it's, for us guys, we have our wife, we try to celebrate her or celebrating our mother, and we go through the, similar things. So it's one of those loaded ones. And over the last a few years, I've placed a greater emphasis on today being more or less a celebration of womanhood than necessarily just being a mom. Because there's a lot more, as all you women would vouch to, there's a lot more to being a woman than just being a mom. Right? Right, exactly. So, especially when you're competing in, Ninja Warrior and stuff, there's a whole lot more that, So there's a lot, and so I get it. And so we've sort of shifted in my mind to, yes, motherhood is a part of it. An incredible part of it, which many of you have participated in and decided to do and currently doing. And as you know, being a mom doesn't stop just when your kid leaves. Maybe you wish it did. But here he is, 23, still living in your basement. Okay, it's time to get out. All right? Enough being nice, Mom. I'm giving you the boot. I learned there was a very funny a quote that I found, and it was written by Picasso. Remember the painter with the crazy, eyes and stuff? He says this: "My mother said to me, if you are a soldier, you will become a general." Aw, thanks, Mom. "If you are a monk, you will become the Pope." Amen. That's me, guys, okay? Wow, last name Pope. Okay. That crashed. Womp, womp. But then Picasso said this: "Instead, I was a painter and became Picasso." Yep, so it was good. Moms encourage us to do better, to do more. And sometimes the mom's like, that's not quite what I had in mind. When you said, I want to paint for a living, I'm like, okay, there's some hope there. And then the teacher comes home and shows me your painting, Picasso. I don't think that's a person, Picasso, but it is. Okay, dear. Well, community group the mom's like, oh my word, I don't know what's going to happen with him. So he became Picasso. It's great. See, we have been studying the book of Proverbs. We just started here. There's the quote. We just started. Oh man, we're good. Come on, clicker. There we go. We just started our study in Proverbs. And now we're jumping all the way to the end of the book. I mean, are we finished already? Are we done? And Proverbs 31, like what Leslie said, is often called, the virtuous woman, the faithful woman. And here we are, we're studying it on Mother's Day. And this passage, I have yet to hear a woman talk about Proverbs 31 and say, this is the most amazing chapter, and it ministers to me every time I read it. You know what I hear? This is impossible. There's no hope to this chapter. It's done nothing but bring me guilt, create an impossible standard that I'm supposed to get, all just to please my husband. And so we're going to try to tackle it here this morning. And so if you're there, I want to show you guys here in Proverbs chapter 31. It says, the words of King Lemuel, an oracle that his mother taught him. This is written to King Lemuel. We don't really know who he is. We assume it is Solomon. We think it might have been a nickname given to him by his mom, but we don't know. And it's written, this whole book is written by a mom. And so what more appropriate passage to study than a chapter of the Bible written specifically by a mom to her son? See this, now what's really fun about this, that maybe you didn't know, but Psalm chapter 31, verse 10 through 31 is actually what is called an acrostic poem, where every line of the poem pretty much starts with another letter of the alphabet. So for us, it'd be from A to Z. You know, it'd be an apple a day keeps the doctor away. By golly, if you don't clean your room, I'm going to ground you. Cookies, cookies, cookies. See, this is me coming up with A, B, and C on the top of my head. That's pretty good, okay? This is a lot better. I mean, cookies, I couldn't go wrong there. So, but that's it. And so each phrase, each verse, and so for you, you look at it, and if you look at verse 10 here, it says, an excellent wife who can find. We're like, okay, it doesn't really translate well from Hebrew into English. But each verse 10, verse 11, verse 12, verse 13, each one of those is a letter in the alphabet in order. And we cannot know the exact reason why this mom decided to do this. Some think it was to help with memory, to help you remember. But that is a lot of memorizing, but it's possible. Others think it carries this idea, which I think is probably closer to what it is. And if you guys remember, we have here the Amazon logo. Amazon has everything from A to Z. Okay, some people have never realized this. Okay, but that's what it is. That's the logo. Amazon has everything from A to Z. And what's the idea behind that? We have everything from A to Z. Zebras, we got them. Aardvarks, sure. I found out that you can buy houses now on Amazon. Whoa! Okay? They literally have everything from A to Z. It shows a picture of completion. And so a lot of scholars think when it comes to this, the idea behind this was the way that what I'm telling you, son, about a potential wife, I'm trying to capture everything from A to Z. And trying to communicate something, trying to do a level of completion. I'm trying to give you a whole picture that you can remember. I don't think she intends to cover every minutia of everything. But for her, this is like, if I wanted to say something to my son in regards to his future wife, this is what I would leave him with. This is just the best I've got. This is a complete picture of what I'm about to bring you. And this is the same idea as, Jesus is called the Alpha and the Omega, beginning and the end, it's everything, And once a reader begins to realize, wait a second, it started with an A and a B, and then it goes to a C, they would start expecting how it ends. But also, I think we're honest, when we try to write a poem in an acrostic form, sometimes the information might not be as detailed as we would if we wrote a theological paper. I mean, could we agree with that? It doesn't mean it's any less true, but from the standpoint of maybe weight and let's pick this out and, and everything, it's probably not supposed to be written like this. The idea of verses 10 through 31 is supposed to be understood as a whole. We're not supposed to rip out the letter E and just make it about me and feel really guilty about E while completely ignoring A, B, and C, and F, and Q, and R, and S. Now, some of you who are like really smarty pants, I understand that the Hebrew letter is not A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay? I get it. I'm trying to communicate. Somebody's going to tell me that after. Did you know? Yep, I did. So let's see. Without further ado, let's get going here on this, all right? And so we're looking at verse 10. She says, an excellent wife or an excellent woman, who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. You know what she's saying here? You lucked out. Son, if you find an excellent woman, she is far more valuable than any of the valuables you have. You hear that? Ladies, if you are an excellent woman, you are far more valuable than his car, his house. What else do guys like? Boats, video games, and food. You are far more valuable than any of that. And this is written by a woman, okay? She's speaking from the fact. She's like, oh, yes, I know I am far more valuable to my husband than his callus, his pastel, whatever it is. I'm far more valuable. She's far more precious than jewels. She is far more precious that the heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. He knows that by investing in his relationship with his wife, it's only going to produce goodness. So she's like, dear son, if you find an excellent woman, she's not saying every woman has to get married. She is not saying every woman must be. You guys get this? So often this passage gets twisted. No, this is what a mom would tell her son. And many of you have told your sons, don't let her go. She's a keeper. You hold on to her. If she's going left, you just latch on. Hold on. No. You invest, you give, you lucked out. And this is what this mom is saying. You lucked out if you get an excellent woman. She is far more valuable than diamonds, than jewels, than gems. She's far more. But there's a deeper level of understanding here that we say this. So if you guys want to keep your place here in Proverbs 31, turn back a few pages to Proverbs chapter 8. And I think as we continue with our series on Proverbs, this is going to come out a whole lot more. All right? But since we're preaching the end towards the beginning, yeah. Proverbs 8, okay? And look at verse 10, okay? Now I want you to compare with what we just read in Proverbs 31 to what wisdom is saying. Remember last week how we talked about wisdom was speaking in the streets and she was pleading with the neighborhood to listen to her? Well, this is another speech that she does here in Proverbs chapter 8. And she says, take my instruction instead of silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold, for wisdom is better than jewels. You guys see what she's saying there? Wisdom is more valuable than gems. What is the mother telling her son in Proverbs 31? An excellent woman is more valuable than jewels. You guys get the connection here? Whoa, she's saying that a woman is just as valuable as wisdom? You better believe it. And that all you may desire cannot compare with her. Then she says, I, wisdom, dwell prudence, and she continues. But then she says in verse 14, I have counsel and sound wisdom. I have insight. I have strength. Why can the husband, in chapter 31, the heart of her husband trusts in her? Because she is wise and has counsel and sound wisdom. Look at verse 19. My fruit is better than gold, even fine gold, and my yield better than choice silver. And he will have no lack of gain. Verse 21 in chapter 8. Granting an inheritance to those who love me and filling their treasures. No lack of gain in chapter 31. So you guys see what's going on here? The proverb, this woman, this mother is telling her son, an excellent woman is incredibly valuable. And connecting with her idea of wisdom, a wise woman is more valuable than anything you can possibly imagine. Get her, take her, don't let her go, invest in her, just treat her like you would treat wisdom in the book of Proverbs. And that's what we're going to see here as we go on. So that's just going to build, all right? So she starts creating this picture. Now then she starts going into the part that people really have a hard time with. So turn back in Proverbs 31, okay? So now we're on the third letter of the alphabet. So it says, she does him good and not harm all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. She is like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar, etc., 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 okay? Now instead of me reading all of this and then going back and explaining all of it, I would like our ladies here this morning to imagine accomplishing all that this woman does, okay? Just want you to imagine. Guys, I want you to try to imagine what this woman accomplishes. Because I think we're going to only have one conclusion by the end. It's impossible. Okay? But let's try it out, okay? She does him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She does him good. And has not hit him with a frying pan yet. She seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. Oh, okay, good. She's a hard worker. We get this. She's like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar. We use ClickList at Fred Meyer. Does this count? She rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens. So she not only somehow travels afar, gets the food, she comes back and wakes up early in the morning and now makes the food. And then she considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hand, she plants a vineyard. So she's into real estate. And so she buys and sells land. And then not only does she buy and sell land, she also plants the vineyard and takes care of it while getting her food from afar and bringing it in. She dresses herself with strength. She's also an American Ninja warrior. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Not only is she into running to get food and coming back and cooking it in the morning before everybody can get it, while buying and selling land in the morning, she also has a side business where she can buy and sell merchandise. And her lamp does not go out at night. And what a lot of people think that means is she goes to bed after everybody else. So she gets up before everybody, goes to bed after everybody, while running out and getting food, making the food all in the morning, while buying and selling real estate. And her other side business. Oh, we're not even done yet, though. Look at verse 19. She puts her hand to the staff, and her hands hold the spindle. She sews. She makes clothes. While giving her money to the poor and reaching her hand out to the needy. And she is so well prepared in life, somehow, that she's able to not be afraid of the snow for her household, like cold weather when it comes, because all of her household are clothed in scarlet. So she's just rich as well with the clothes that she's making from the errands she is running while buying and selling real estate, while running her second business. She makes bed coverings for herself. Why doesn't she just buy them? We don't know. But she also makes bed coverings for herself while making scarlet clothing for her for the winter. And her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. He's just riding on her coattails. Because now he has so much time on his hand because literally this woman runs afar like a merchant ship, gets the food, comes back, cooks it in the morning while sewing all the clothes they need to do, dressing her kid in fine linen, running the second business where the husband can now be a politician. She makes linen garments and sells them as well. Okay. She delivers sashes to the merchant that she runs out because I guess she's a merchant ship. Strength and dignity are her clothing, which means she's practically flawless. And she laughs at the time to come. Which you guys are like, what does that mean? This thing more, ha 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 ha. It just means she's ready. She's ready for the time to come. And she opens from, not only does she do all of this, okay, this is the good one. The teaching of kindness and understanding. She homeschools her children. Can we get any more perfect than this woman? Wow. She looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. So she's a workaholic. Her children rise up and call her blessed. And her husband, because he gets to sit on his tushy all day. Okay? I'm making a mockery of it for one reason, people. Because I have heard this passage bring nothing but guilt to women. Because this is what they're taught. Where is it? Look at verse 15, ladies. See, we've got to be the best wife we can for our husband. So let's look at verse 15. She rises while it is yet night. You see that? All mothers and all women need to get up before their man and have food ready for everybody so they can get up and just partake. And then you look at your life, you're like, man, I slept late this morning. Oh, idleness. You guilty, worthless woman. How dare you? How dare you? You're not even a Christian. And I'm being sarcastic, but the fact is, this is how Proverbs 31 is taught to ladies over and over and over again, and it does nothing but produce guilt. Well, let me tell you, this chapter isn't even written to you. It is written to a son. So think about this. Let's think about it. How many of you guys can do all that stuff in a day? How about a week? Come on. It isn't. And maintain your strength and your energy and the gracefulness of a servant blessed by God. It is impossible. And that's the point. It doesn't even have to do with that. This is what she's saying. Some women are really good at sewing, and she's considered an excellent woman. Some are really good at buying and selling real estate. That's pretty cool too. Some are American Ninja Warriors. They didn't even have that. It was American Jewish Warrior. I don't know what they called it back then. Okay? Some are really good at selling and running a business. Great. Some are really good at teaching. Some moms, bless their heart, should not be teaching their kids. They just can't. They try, but they would be murdered. And she recognized this, and out of an act of love, she asked another mother to teach her kids. It's okay. Mothers are good at a lot of things. And so what the mom is trying to say here is she's trying to bring a broad picture celebrating women. An excellent woman. You're going to get lucky. This is what women do. This and 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 this. That is a celebration of a woman, and that's what she's telling them. Look, this is an excellent woman. She works. I have met very few women who I would identify as lazy in my life. I have found a few more men that I would consider lazy, but a whole lot less women. You got to be impressed. And they all have their strengths, and they all have their abilities, and they just have this gift. And really, I think that's what we should end with. Wow. She does all that? Yes. Think about it. Consider it every day. Watch and document everything the lady in your life does in a day. It's going to wear you out before you even get done. Wow, she got up and helped her kid again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. How has she not killed him yet? Again. Oh, and she made lunch, and somehow she found time to shower. That's impressive. I mean, holy moly, you just go down the list and you're like, wow, that is impressive. An excellent woman who can find you are lucky, man, if you happen to get someone who works and is faithful and is dedicated, and ultimately, as she says, is who is not idle. But don't use this. This is just a celebration of a working woman. This is a celebration of the beauty that women bring. I mean, think about all the people that this impacted and affected. Guys, look at the list. So much of that actually connects with other people. Buying and selling real estate, bringing food in, being the example of strength. And there, she works hard. This one works hard in the morning and is able to minister even to her maidens. And other ones work long into the night because they happen to be more night owls and invest there. It's just all this awesome stuff that women bring to society. This is a celebration. It is not supposed to bring guilt. Do you guys hear me? If you hear somebody using this passage to bring you guilt, plug your ears, please. It's not about that. It's a celebration. But let's keep going here, all right? Because we're not even done yet. See, we're not even to the letter Z yet done, okay? We're not there yet. See, look at verse 30. I think we're at verse 30. Let's look at verse 29, okay? Let me make sure I'm not jumping ahead here and killing my big idea. Okay. So we've seen so far, the man, if he happens to get an excellent woman has lucked out. We then see an example of just the productivity of what women bring. And see their hardworkingness. We see it. We see it play out. But now let's keep going here, okay? And we're going to get back to verse 27 and 28 here in a minute. But I want you to look at verse 29. Many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. This verse is not a try to be better than the woman next to you verse. All right? I've heard that spoken to as well. It's not a competition. That's just dumb. Okay? I'll tell you, see, for me as a son, you know who the best mother is in the world? It's not you guys. None of you are as good as my mom. Yeah. It's that whole, my mom can beat up your mom. Never going to happen, because the moms are like, let's go have coffee. They go have coffee, and they're happy, But that's what it is. Who's the most important woman? It's my mom. Who's the best wife? Well, it's my wife. Who are the best daughters? They're mine. Sorry, guys. My daughters are so much cooler than yours. They're not bad. It's just for me. Who's the most important? My mom, my wife, my daughters. But I think what's really cool about this is what it says is many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. So we want to block this together. The mother started saying off, if you find an excellent wife, you have lucked out. And then she goes and paints this picture of women and all this stuff. And then she sort of ends it right here. She sort of like ends this portion of the conclusion right here. Many women have done all of this stuff. And it's incredible. It is excellent. It is awesome. Man, it's all this stuff. But, look at verse 30. But a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. See, she's not saying in order to please God, you got to do all this stuff. In order to please God, you got to please your husband. Well, I'll be honest, some husbands are unable to be pleased. It doesn't matter. They're just unpleasable. So if your life exists to please your man, let me tell you, it's going to bring you nothing but despair and depression. Because we're sinners, just like everybody else. See, the only thing that can really satisfy the heart of somebody is not what somebody does for us, but it's what Jesus did for us. It's the only thing that can satisfy the longing in our hearts. Ladies, no matter how hard you try, you can never satisfy your man. That is up to Jesus Christ. That is up between him and his relationship with Jesus. And it's the same thing. Ladies, no matter how hard you try, your husband is not going to satisfy your heart. The only one that can really satisfy is the person Jesus Christ. Let's just get that straight out here, okay? You cannot depend on them to satisfy you because they won't. They can help, You know what I mean? They can be really nice and boost you and encourage you and walk with you, but they're not going to satisfy you. That's Jesus' job. That's what Jesus did on the cross. And this is what's so cool about this, is she's like, many women have done all of this stuff. And it's excellent stuff, it's great stuff, but the most important thing, son, for your wife is that she fears the Lord. I mean, literally what the mom is saying is this. She has one priority, and it's not you. It's not you. Son, yes, she does all this awesome stuff because she's just a good person, and she works her tail off because it's sort of built in. She does all of this stuff, but, it's not about you. Verse 30, but it's a woman who fears the Lord that should be praised. Just think about that, ladies. This is completely freeing. This passage should not bring you guilt. It should bring you one reminder. One reminder. No matter all the awesome stuff you do in a day, you have one priority, and that is your relationship with Jesus Christ. Everything flows from that. That's what it is. Everything flows from your relationship. Because if you are not walking with the Lord and fearing Him, then everything else is sort of tainted because you're doing it for the wrong reasons and the wrong motives. See, because the reason you happen to, not saying everybody does, but the reason you get up in the morning sometimes and makes breakfast is not to satisfy your husband. It's just because you want to do that for him. Because you're just showing the love that God has shown you. And this is a great thing. And some mornings you're going to sleep late. Good. You should. You're probably up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning while the husband was snoring because the kid was throwing up. Great. Sleep late. You need to. You don't even hesitate with this stuff. It flows from that, not to it. And ladies, you have one priority in your life, and that is to fear God and serve Him. And husbands, sons, friends, whatever it happens to be, that is something to celebrate. Celebrate a woman who fears the Lord. And so I told Nikki as I was preparing this message and this service, and I guess I'm hoping at some point my daughters listen to this message. They're a little too young right now. You know, they're a little young, and I guess I'm talking to them right now, but you know, Vera, Thea, and Petra, I encourage you when you're about the age of 40 and a guy has expressed interest in you, maybe 45, and I'm dead because I won't be able to handle it, that you find a man who appreciates you for you, that doesn't use the Bible to guilt you into obeying. It's not his job. That's between you and the Lord. But a husband and a boyfriend at the time, because you don't want to skip the boyfriend part before the husband, you know, that's just weird. And girls, I want you to look at verse 28 and 29 of Proverbs 31, where it says, her children rise up and call her blessed, which you won't have any at that time yet. And your boyfriend also, he praises you. That says, yeah, women, they do a whole lot of good stuff. Because if your boyfriend talks down about other women, that means one day he will talk down to you. But one who just celebrates women for being women and just being awesome. Says, yeah, they all do excellent. But you're better. And just celebrates you as a person. If you meet a guy that does that, invite them over. I'll meet them, I guess, if I have to. As we close, I want to just focus here on just this sort of understatement here through the whole thing. Look at verse 31. Well, first look at 28. He says, and he praises her. So the children call her blessed. They call her special. They call her unique and wonderful. The children recognize it. Good job, because they probably learned this from the husband who demonstrated this. And see, not only do the children praise her, the husband praises her. And then in verse 31, I love this. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. And I tried filming a video of like Nikki when Thea was 2. Somehow Thea is listening to Nikki talk and teach Vera the books of the Bible. And Thea, just by listening, learned the books of the Old Testament. One of the cutest things I've ever seen. And we couldn't figure out how to get it downloaded. And I tried to film it with my iPad, and I couldn't get it, and it didn't do it justice. And Nikki, I really wanted to celebrate your motherness to our kids, and I couldn't do it. I tried. I did. But I think we should, as it says, give her the fruit of her hands and let her works praise her in the gates. I think, if you can, praise the works of the woman in your life, even if it's your kids, and your wife, and your mom, and your grandma, and celebrate her, because she most likely earned it, and she deserves it. We should celebrate it, and we should praise them. And so if you are here this morning, all of you need to just rush out and get on your cell phones and just celebrate and praise your mom for what she has done for you. And praise your wife for what she has done for you. And praise your daughters for what they've done for you. Dads, I would really encourage you to call them. I would. And just thank them. Say, you know what? You're good. You've done some excellent things. If they have a relationship with Jesus Christ, celebrate that as loud as possible. So you were just a great example for me of faithfulness. And listening to Vera walk through and examine and study the Bible and ask me about stuff does my little dad, pastor heart, proud. And it challenges me to be that excited about the Word of God as she is. And let's celebrate it.